हाय फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू सिक्योरिटी विजन चैनल और मेरा नाम अभिषेक स्वामी है। साइबर सिक्योरिटी की इस यूनिट में आज हम बात करने वाले हैं कुछ अलग हटके जो आपके फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्टिव और एग्जामिनेशन के लिए काफ़ी हेल्प कर सकता है। यहाँ पर मैं आपको एक बात क्लियर करना चाहता हूँ कि यहाँ पर जो हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं entire 8 domains की, which is a part of CISSP, right? Certified Information System Security Professional. Okay, ये एक सर्टिफिकेशन होता है for information security field professionals के लिए रहता है, where you will be master in all the domains, all the areas in information security. All right. So दोस्तों, ये प्रिपरेशन कैसे होती है, इसके लिए क्या तैयारी की जाती है और कितने डोमेन्स होते हैं, हर डोमेन्स में का सिलेबस क्या रहता है, एग्जाम का पैटर्न क्या रहता है, वो बात की बात है। वो आप देख सकते हैं, कहीं पर भी देख सकते हैं और इजली आईएससी स्क्वायर पे भी वो अवेलेबल है, राइट। आज जो मैं आपको बात करने वाला हूँ, बेसिकली हम टेक्निकली पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ज़्यादा फोकस करने वाले हैं। सीआईएसएसपी का फंक्शनैलिटी क्या रहती है, फर्स्ट डोमेन जो उसका है उसके बारे में हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं। और ट्रस्ट मी, बहुत अच्छा वीडियो होने वाला है, लास्ट तक देखिए। अगर वीडियो आपको अच्छा लगता है तो उसके अकॉर्डिंगली आप कमेंट्स करेंगे कि आगे की सीरीज में आप बना सकता हूँ, एंड डेफिनेटली आई विल प्रोवाइड ऑल द इंफॉर्मेशन विच नीडेड टू क्लियर दी CISSP एग्जाम। सबसे पहले इंपॉर्टेंट होता है उसका कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होना, राइट। यहाँ पर कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर के साथ साथ जो आपको क्वेश्चंस आते हैं उसकी सबसे ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करना, बस दो चीजों का ध्यान रखना है, एंड देन ऑल गुड टू गो। बाकी रेस्ट ऑल अप टू यू। जितना ज्यादा आप रिसोर्स स्टडी करेंगे, जितना ज़्यादा आप बुक्स रीड करेंगे, डिफरेंट रिसोर्सेस को रिफर करेंगे, दैट्स ऑलवेज बेनिफिट फॉर यू, राइट। सो चलिए हम इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी के फर्स्ट डोमेन सिक्योरिटी एंड रिस्क मैनेजमेंट की, राइट। सो ये वीडियो सिक्योरिटी एंड रिस्क मैनेजमेंट हम सारा इसमें हम देखेंगे, recognize the importance of information security management। और एक बार और बताना चाहता हूँ कि since this is CISSP preparation and the prospection of information security, so I'll be speaking in English as well as in Hindi, right? So people who can easily understand in English, that video would be beneficial for them as well. All right. So learning objective which we are going to cover is recognize the importance of information security management. We will be looking into security policies implementation. We will be talking about information risk management, defining personal security and security functions management process, computer crime, and BCP process, etc. So these all things the learning object है, and under this इस learning object के अंदर we are going to cover many more things, right? This is just a high level thing. We will be covering the so introduction of security management, right? So can we look into the the use case, the case study कि हम क्या करने वाले हैं? So at least you will have idea that what we are going to achieve in this security and risk management, क्यों इसकी जरूरत क्यों पड़ी और क्या हम एक्चुअली इसको अचीव करना चाहते हैं। सो देखिए फ्रेंड्स, ऐसा है कि अगर आप इसको रीड करते हैं, केविन बटलर या यू कैन से अभिषेक स्वामी फ्रॉम सिक्योरिटी विजन इज अ सिक्योरिटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर in network firewall, all right, network firewall division at XYZ organization, जैसा कि आप यहाँ देख सकते हैं। So he must prepare for CISP exam. He starts his preparation by reading a historical case of computer or competitor. Now क्या है उसमें देखते हैं। Competitor company had failed to understand the importance of information security. Failed to understand, okay, and the information security concept. The company had planned their business continuity plan without continued involvement of IT. So IT security input was taken without the team playing an active role. So the BCP was weak in the area of IT security, of course. So when the headquarter of competitor company was hit by, tornado, there was a huge information leak as data protection measures were not well planned at the time of natural disaster. So the department tried their best to prevent this. Company faced major losses, which led them to file the back currency within a few years. What do we understand by this? So we understand this, you know, you have a financial organization or you have an health organization, right? So what is important for you? Now you have critical data, you have critical information. So without planning, you feel that the security is no longer needed and you are just focusing on the availability. You are focusing on your customer relationship, your business continuity. That's it. So where is your, confidentiality? Where is your security? Right? So there is no planning. So even if DR is in place, you have a VCP, this would be weak because you are doing it without IT help, right? Without informing IT support, right? So previously, what like anyone will say for compliance perspective, please understand from compliance perspective, जो भी मैं आपको example दूंगा, आप please pay attention. Slide will not help you, concept will help you, right? So in many organizations, you will see that in a compliance perspective, DR, the words is used for compliance perspective. DR is done within a few seconds, few minutes. Yes, DR is done. PCP is done. Disaster recovery means what? Do we understand that in case of the disaster, how it's gonna happen? That's how the huge penalty of the any organization if there's no planning of the VCP, there's no disaster recovery properly done. You are shutting down one or two server and making the service up in one or two location of the service, not a DR. This is just you are meeting the compliance requirement. So many people it's doing like that only, right? So that's something we need to understand and why we require security and why we require the infrastructure. So आगे आपको so then introduction होता है information security का, right? So information security का introduction होता है. इस स्लाइड में आप देखोगे कि ओवरऑल अ कंप्लीट security solution we are going to talk, right? So security solution should adequately address each of these tenants, which we are going to talk about, right? Whether it's vulnerabilities and risk, these all are also evaluated based on the threats. They pose again one or more CI's triad principle, which we are going to talk about. So introduction to information security, it is a process, this is a process or the functionality or the factor of protecting information and your asset and your information system from unauthorized disclosure, access or use like confidentiality, right? That's something data confidential we are talking about. Destruction, data is destruct, data is deleted, data is modified, or data is disruption. It's kind of you know uh, disturb or any kind of changes is done. Anything happened beyond this unauthorized disclosure or any destruction of the data, disruption of the data, modification of the data, or data is getting deleted. So this is all about the information security, right? Which help you to protect information in uh, information and information system from these all the aspect which we are talking. Now, introduction to information security. What are the factors that impact information security? Now we are talking about impact, right? So factor that impact information security and why we require the information. If anybody will ask, why do we require information security? What are the factors, right, that impact information security? So you can say technology you have and the business plan and general business environment. Don't worry, it's not, we are not going to discuss about the slide, we will discuss about the concept. So technology, in this technology you can see that platform and tools, right? What do we understand platform and tools used? So friends, you remember, you know any platform or any tool, the third party tools, your let's say you have a the recent example, the recent example which has happened on 20th July. What happened on 20th July? You know, your cloud strike, the cloud strike where you have seen the BSOD, black screen, right? Because of the cloud strike patches, right? The Falcon was the tool which releases, the patches not compatible with MS Windows, right? So these kind of tools, you know, network connectivity. So when we're talking about network connectivity, then how security measures will be in place, right? Any kind of the network connectivity, the flow which you have of the network when your data will be traveling, so you require some technology. So we will be understanding all the countermeasures under the network connectivity. The level of IT, you know, complexity. So level of IT complexity, what do we understand? Most of the organizations has a mixed tool, right? So mixed tool in the sense that, in, like, let's say for log analysis, when we're talking about SIEM. So for SIEM, you are using ArcSight, you're using QRadar, you have Elastic, such you have SOAR, and many other tool your organization is using. So you have a mixed tool which you don't require. So level of IT complexity, the more tools you have, the more complexity you will be having, obviously, right? You will, right? And then new and emerging security tools. So there are very, very good tools and very, very good technologies, which is actually, emerging securities by providing efficient product, efficient tools. Then you have operation support for security. The last one, operation support for security. So how do we ensure that the data is secured? So operation support for security. So what kind of operation support? Let's say when we're talking about uh, the security which you have all the countermeasures, you have different standards, baseline, and the procedure. So what would be the operation support, right? How you going to do that? For example, for PCI DSS, right? And for GDPR, for SOX, for HIPAA, there are many standards out there, right? So from the operation perspective, in order to meet these regulation requirement of GDPR, PCI DSS, SOX, HIPAA, your operation has to be very, very much accurate and functional at the right direction in order to support for security, right? All right. So this is about the technology. Now, business plan and general business environment. So what do we understand? When we're talking about nature of business, so what kind of business do you have? Is it a bank, any financial department, or is a software based organization, right? It's a government organization, right? What is the nature of your business? That's so, in order to, plan the business plan, and the business environment has to be understood. You have to understand the business environment. What would be the risk tolerance, right? So risk tolerance means what is your risk appetite, how much risk you can appetite. Once you have the business, you should have understand that what would be the pros and cons, and how much it can be impacted. So what is the risk we have and how much risk we can accept. So the risk tolerance. Then industry trend. What is the industry trend is going on in the market, right? So any kind of, it could be the trend, like the software related or the mergers related, and the products or the cloud related. So what is the industry trend is going on, though you need to understand, you need to compare with your competitor, what is the trend is going on in any industry. So that principle has to be keep in mind. Merger acquisition and partnership, right? So you have a merger acquisition, you have a third party, you have company A and company B. So when company A is acquiring company B, so you have to ensure that what would be the handover, what is the risk involved in that, make sure they, as a third party, company B. Let me give you an example, right? So you have Vodafone and you have Idea in India. Now both are merged now. It becomes VI, Vodafone India. So when acquisitions was going on, Vodafone have to ensure that idea follows all the compliance regulatory. It What is their risk tolerance, risk appetite, what is the nature of business they were running, right? All parameters they will understand. What kind of countermeasures they have, how that their security is for almost couple of years, what is the trend of their risk, how the analysis is being done, how monitoring is being done, what is resiliency. They will understand their complete governance, compliance, and risk management pattern, everything. So merger acquisition and partnership, that has to be uh, um, taken as a consideration. Then outsourcing service or provider. So outsourcing service, you have third party. So the third party, the product you are using, or you have any kind of third party vendor, how they are following their documentation, how their regulation is, and you have some NDA as well, non-disclosure agreement. So that's something you need to understand, right? Okay. So this is about the technology and business plan and general business environment. So though it's gonna be lengthy, but the concept has to be clear, right? This is very, very important for your exam perspective and your knowledge perspective also. Now we will understand what is cybersecurity and what is cybersecurity, what's the importance of cybersecurity and why we need it, right? What is cybersecurity and why cybersecurity is needed, right? So if you see that, in organization there are many crime is happening, right? So the previously there were many incident happened. If you talk about 1970, at that time there was no digitalization, security, information security. All the works has to be happened at the paper level, right? So now, not going into the deep, you can understand. You have multiple machines connected to each other, and as long as they are not connected to the internet, somewhere you are secured. As long as your users are aware they are not using any external pen drive, external devices and all, you are pretty much secured, right? So this is somewhere you are working in the cyber environment, right? You are working in the cyber environment. Now what if you are connected to each other and you require internet access, then your cyber requires security. So this becomes cyber security, right? So cyber security refers anything intended to protect enterprise from intentional attack, breaches, incident and subsequences. It is happening in the cloud as well nowadays, right? So it can also be defined as the protection of information asset, by addressing threat to information proceed, store and transported by internal worked information system. So this is just I read the PPT concept. You're clear why what is cyber security and all, right? Perfect. Now, why cyber security important? Why cyber security important, right? So you understand, due to technology advancement, you are using internet. So when you're using internet, you will have some automation. You will be using multiple product, tools, technology for the enhancement and to run your business. If you want to grow up in the business, you need to adopt the technologically, advancement. So the rate of cybercrime will definitely be increasing, right? That simple thing, right? Now, as most of business happen online these days, आपको भी मालूम है, this is absolutely no doubt that everything is happening online nowadays. So increasing demand of protection data is also needed. When protection of data is needed and presence of crime syndicates, cyber armies, financial fraud will happen. So why is cybersecurity important? you will understood why we require everything is online. Everything is in online. So that's the reason you require cybersecurity. Hope this is very much clear. Any question from cybersecurity, you should be able to. Now, if we understand security and cybersecurity, what do we understand by security and cybersecurity? So, information security, anything information paper related work, any information security which deals with information regardless of its format. No matter क्या format है, what is the format doesn't matter. Information we are saving information, okay, in the format of paper, in the format of digitization, anything. So it encompasses paper documents, digital data, and intellectual property. Intellectual property, copyrights, patent. We will be understanding that in detailed. So you have understood about the information security, and you will understand also cyber security. What do you understand by the cyber security? Complete digitalization. So it is basically defined as a protection of information asset. Information security, you have information, okay, and you are securing the information. And when we're talking about cyber security, you are protecting the information asset by addressing threats. Now you are addressing the threat to information proceed, stored, transported by uh, any internet worked information system. So cyber security जो रहेगा is a component of information security. Cyber security is a component of information security. Information security itself is a big name, okay, and under that cyber security is coming. So this I have all the information which I need to protect. Now how I'm going to protect it, what countermeasure will be there, and how I'm going to address the threats to information in order to proceed the information. Cyber security will be in the picture. Perfect. Great. Now clarifying cyber crime statistics, right? So risk management we have already started, right? You don't think that we are going somewhere else. This is only about the risk management, and you need to understand this methodology, the one which I'm explaining you. Very important. Now, recent trend which makes cybersecurity more important, very more important. So you see that if I'll say that FBI, you know, Office of Asset Control, Office of Asset Asset Control. Uh, let me give you an example. This example will help you. Okay, ransomware attack. You aware about the ransomware? Okay, let's understand. So during the first 6 months of 2018, more than 25 million records were compromised or exposed every day. During 2008, okay, 25 million records. Over 25 or 24,000 malicious mobile apps are blocked daily. Now, ransomware attack on the healthcare industry drastically somewhere in 2018. Cybercrime to cost $6 trillion by 2021, and 30 billion password worldwide in 2022. More than 60% of fraud originated from mobile, and so on and so on. This is just a trend we are trying to understand. 90% of hackers use encryption method. So you will understand that way. When in 2018 ransomware attacked. So what happened that your entire machine data got encrypted. Completely data is encrypted in uh, keylogger format, ransom. Uh, there's an extension called WannaCry, you know, uh, ransom.exe, the many format. So your machine data is completely locked, and they ask to pay some ransom, okay, in order to decrypt your data. So remember one thing, always remember, once your data is encrypted, there's no key in the world apart from the owner who encrypted can decrypt the data. Okay, understand it. No one can. So once data is encrypted by ransomware attack, they can only decrypt the data. So you have to pay some amount in order to decrypt the data. Okay, so uh, what actually, there's a office of asset control in US. What they say, you don't need to pay any ransomware. If you pay, then you will be penalized. None of the organization has to pay the ransom. They need to involve FBI to not to pay any ransom. FBI will check with the organization who has, you know, encrypt the data. Okay. So this was the guidelines from Office of Asset Control about it. So this is just an example I've given. So terrifying, cyber crime statics. Hope you understand, right? If I'll give you so many examples, you will hope you will. Now, approaches to cyber security. When we're talking about approaches, what would be the approaches? So there are three approaches. The best approaches for the cyber security is compliance based. So either you should be under regulation compliance. Okay, regulation compliance. There are many rules under each regulation compliance which we will be understanding, like HIPAA. Okay, GDPR, PCI DSS, and SOX. Okay, all right. So these are the compliance regulatory which you need to follow. So relies on the regulation of standard to determine security implementation. Simple. This approach you can, when everything is blind, attack is happening, and you know people are working in their way they want to work. This approach will not work, right? So their proper approach in the cyber security, first compliance based approach, and then risk based approach. So risk based approach, any risk, there should be control in the risk, identify the risk, and then accept the risk, transfer the risk, mitigate the risk. Risk acceptance, what would be the level of the risk acceptance, risk acceptance. So the approach will tell you the relies on identify the unique kind of risk a particular organization faces and designing and implementing security control to asset that risk, address that risk. Then the ad hoc. What do you understand by ad hoc? Line under regulatory, let's do some, uh, advanced level approach. So this approach simplify, implement security with no relations of criteria. Means we are not following risk compliance. We are not, following the baseline of the risk. We work in our way we want to work. We will find out our internal customized uh, regulation compliance. We will be having customized risk based functionality. So this is ad hoc. This is called ad hoc. Okay, you can take one standard or the framework and you can customize, you can follow that. So that is something called ad hoc, right? So hope you have understood this, right? Perfect, 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 guys. So now, you know, ISC square code of professional ethics will not spend much time that this is you understand code of ethics. Simply, you support and commit you towards your work, how you behave, how you react against the people, what the safety and welfare of the society you follow. For you, the society, people health is top priority. Okay, your duty to our principal and to each other. Uh, whenever the highest ethical standard of the behavior. So this is about the code of ethics and the uh, permeable and act honestly, justify and legally. That's all the about the the ethics which we should aware of. If anyone asks what is the code of professional ethics in ISC, so you very this right, you very much aware. If you see in the detail about the organization code of ethics, it is given here, so you can read down. Ethics are the principle and value used by individual to governance his or her action and decision, and same is given. The code of ethics can help your organization to show customer that it value integrity, defines terms of ethics standard and behavior at work, and guide decision making in difficult situation. All right, all about the basic concept about the ISC square which we have understood. Now we are going to focus on some critical area. We will be spending more and more time. You must have heard CIA Triad, but the way I will be explaining, you actually love it, right? So confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? This is the three pillar. This is the three principle of the security you require all the time in your 8 domains, entire life in your information security and cyber security. Okay, so confidentiality, integrity, and availability, which serve as industry standard of computer security since the time of the first mainframe. Now, what do we understand by confidentiality, integrity, and availability? So, before proceeding further, okay, about CIE trial, let's understand what is object and what is subject. These terms you will have to remember entire your journey of CISSP. Okay, very simple. An object is a passive. Passive, it's not active, passive. Your data is kept somewhere, so it's passive. Okay, you have data in storage, you have data in your mobile, laptop, computer, cloud, everywhere. So it's passive, it's not running every time. So this is called as passive. So object is a passive element in security relationship. I'll make it very easy. So what is objective? क्या हो जाएगा आपका? File, computer, network connection and application. ये सब हो जाएगा आपका ऑब्जेक्ट विच इज पैसिव. ओके, पैसिव रहता है. ओके, सब्जेक्ट क्या रहता है? सब्जेक्ट एक्टिव रहता है बिकॉज जो सब्जेक्ट होता है वो होता है यूजर, प्रोग्राम और कंप्यूटर, जो कंटिन्यूसली एक्टिव रहता है. ओके, इसलिए इसको बोलते हैं सब्जेक्ट इज अ एक्टिव एलिमेंट. एक्टिव एलिमेंट इन अ सिक्योरिटी रिलेशनशिप, वेरी सिंपल, सच एस यूजर्स, प्रोग्राम और कंप्यूटर. ठीक है, सो ये समझ में आ गया सब्जेक्ट एंड यूजर. आई होप यू, व्हेन यू से सब्जेक्ट, सब्जेक्ट अपनी तरफ फिंगर करो. मैं एज अ यूजर, मैं एज अ कंप्यूटर, मैं एज अ प्रोग्रामर, मैं एक सब्जेक्ट हूँ जो एक्टिव रहता हूँ, जो हमेशा डेटा पे काम करता हूँ. तो डेटा पे काम करता हूँ मतलब फाइल पे काम करता हूँ, कंप्यूटर पे काम करता हूँ. ठीक है ना, और एनी काइंड ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, फाइल हो गई, डेटा हो गया, उस पर काम करता हूँ, तो वो होता है पैसिव, जिसको ऑब्जेक्ट बोलते हैं. तो नहीं भूलोगे आप. ठीक है, चलो, ये हो गया. अब हम बात करते हैं अलग अलग चीजों की. तो सबसे पहले हम बात करते हैं कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी की. ओके, देखो, न्यूमेरल्स अटैक फोकस ऑन द violation of confidentiality. These includes capturing, if we're talking about network traffic and stealing password file, as well as social engineering, port scanning, shoulder surfing, sniffing, escalation of privilege, and so on and so on. Many things happen. So attack होगा आपका, right? So confidentiality, disclosure of any information. Confidentiality, anything is disclosed. Your data is very confidential, and if it is lost or if it is stolen or if it is disclosed, it is the question of your data confidentiality. Perfect, very simple. Now what are the threats? Okay, so when we understand about the violation of confidentiality, it are not limited to directed international attack, intentional attack, sorry, डायरेक्टेड इंटेंशनल अटैक. देखो अटैक कैसे भी हो सकता है. मैनी इंस्टेंट ऑफ अनऑथराइज्ड डिस्क्लोजर ऑफ सेंसिटिव और कॉन्फिडेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन आर रिजल्ट ऑफ ह्यूमन एरर. इंसानों से भी गलती होती है, ओवरसाइट और यू नो इन इन एप्टीट्यूड. ओके, सो ये टर्म्स मैं इसलिए यूज कर रहा हूँ, ये आपको हेल्प करेगी सीआईएसएसपी में. सो कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी कुछ भी हो सकता, कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी जो रहती है डिपेंड ऑन ईच अदर. ओके, सो विदाउट ऑब्जेक्ट इंटीग्रिटी, देखो रिमेंबर, जो मैं बोलता हूँ नोट करो, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है. कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी एंड इंटीग्रिटी डिपेंड ऑन ईच अदर. विदाउट ऑब्जेक्ट मतलब डेटा इंफॉर्मेशन, विदाउट ऑब्जेक्ट इंटीग्रिटी confidentiality cannot be maintained. Other concept, condition and aspect of confidentiality, which includes many things: sensitivity, discretion, creativity, uh, concealment, secrecy, and all. So that we will come to later. First, we will talk about the confidentiality. So in the confidentiality, you have threats. What would be the threats? If we're talking about threat, so what do you understand? Like, say for example, you have a attack on the encryption. You have a threat encryption. So for that you use the cryptographical that we know, social engineering, keylogger, IoTs. So there are many possibilities of data may get leaked. you know Definitely data will leak. So uh, let me give you some example here. Example, okay, so you will see threat of confidentiality. So how your confidentiality can be breached, how threats to confidentiality. Okay, we'll understand about threat also. Hacker will try to steal your data. Okay, masquerade is reason of the confidentiality. Unauthorized user activity will happen, then your data can be disclosed, confidentiality may leak. Unprotected file download, unprotected networks, unauthorized programs, social engineering attack, IoTs, printing work, your data, uh, physical attack. There are many things that of the confidentiality, right? So this is about the confidentiality. Now, how you gonna use it? So we have a data at rest. Okay, data at rest. Data at rest means data is doing nothing. It just storage, your full disk, your storage, AES 256, etc. Tape server and all. So you encrypt that. This is the way we can protect the data. We encrypt that. Now, what is the next method to protect? Let's say data in motion. So data in motion. So data is continuously traveling, that you also know. Continuously, your data is scattered throughout the network. Let's say you are using Amazon. Okay, so you're using Amazon to purchase something. So there's a data which cannot be encrypted, right? Because you need to use that data, right? So you will be having what? Encrypted communication. Then you will have the encrypted communication. Let's say SSL, TLS, or IPsec. That's something you can use, right? And what else you can do that? What else you can do that? Uh, this is you can protect the data. So data at rest protected, data in motion is also protected, but data in use, when we're talking about uh, you know um, data at rest, the first one is data at rest which we're talking about. But when we're talking about data in use, okay, so like printing data, your machine, your PC, someone is passing from your machine to see some information, printing documents you kept on your desktop, anybody can steal that data, right? Printing documents you left in the printer, right? So you're using different screen, so someone cannot see your data in your screen at the time of your working. So data is continuously in use. So what you do, you flush out the data, right? You use the memory. Data is stored in the memory as well. So you flush out the data. You follow the process. What else you do? That you lock the PC. You do the training. You follow the policy. You provide the awareness in your organization. These all things you can do that, right? So this is all about the confidentiality. I hope this is pretty much clear, right? Now, when we talk about when we talking about integrity, when we talking about integrity, right? So what do we understand by integrity? So integrity means it ensures that the data remains correct. Your data is correct. Data is preserved, and their you know data is what we called intentionally not modified by authorized subject. Yes, authorized, not unauthorized. Authorized subject. Let's say your database admin getting into some information. It's just logging into the database. It's just modifying the table. He's not allowed to do that. He will be raising the change. He has some approval, okay, to do that authorized activity. Then this activity will call authorized. Making any changes in the policy without any change, making any kind of data alteration without informing anything, this is called integrity. Underline that information is needed. So if a security mechanism offers integrity, it offers a high level of assurance that the data, object, and resource are unaltered from their original okay, protected state. So alternation should not occur. Remember, alternation should not occur while the object is in stored. समझिए अब मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? you know Something is stored, okay, something is stored. You're not allowed to alter anything in the stored or in transit or in process, anywhere. So your confidentiality, integrity, and availability, especially confidentiality, integrity, is based on data at rest, data in motion, and data in use. Please understand the sequence, okay, how it actually works. So data can be stolen. The integrity can may take place at rest level, in motion also, in use also, anywhere, right? So for integrity to be maintained on a system, control must be in place to restrict access to data, object, or resources, right? So this is something about the integrity. Integrity में अगर आपको और समझना है तो we understood about the threat. If we're talking about how we use it, right? So you have a cryptography, you can use it. You have checksum, you have a message digest also, known as hash, SHA-1, SHA-256, MD5, access control. So you know what? If I'll create a notepad on my desktop, I'll put, hey, hi Abhishek, how are you doing? And I'll save it, and I'll go to online hash calculation or hash creation. And I'll upload that and just copy that hash value. Okay. And even as small changes in this notepad, if even I've removed, I type 1 2 3, or I just remove one dot also, the entire hash value will be changed. So this is the best example which you can understand about integrity, right? Now let's talk about availability. Wow. So availability, what do you understand by availability? I hope you understand about availability. So let's understand availability in deep. So दोस्तों, भाइयों, बहनों, accountability, being responsible or obligated for action and result. नहीं समझ में आया. सो पहले अकाउंटेबिलिटी समझने से पहले आप समझिए रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी समझिए, ठीक है। अकाउंटेबिलिटी समझने से पहले आपको क्या समझना पड़ेगा? आप लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड अबाउट जस्ट अ मिनट। So when we talking about accountable, okay, when we talking about sorry, accountability, what do you understand by accountability? Whole and sole responsible for any task. Whole and sole responsible. And responsibility means shared task, shared responsibility. If anything goes wrong, the person will be responsible for particular task or particular thing. But accountability is a whole and sole responsible for that entire task, entire project and all. Right? Okay. So before this is just I wanted to understand. So this will help you. Now availability we were talking about, right? What do we understand by availability? The principle of availability, asserts the system functions and data must be available on demand whenever you require data. It should be available. As simple as that. You require a data, okay? It should be available. The best example is your IPS load balancer. If this goes down, then most of the services will be impacted. Okay, and if the service is impacted, uh, intentionally, unintentionally, you are in loss, right? You are in loss. So that's something you have to ensure that availability has to be 100%. Your server down, a particular, a very critical server which require 100% high availability. Okay, and if that server goes down, your SLA has some impact. Your critical services are running. Your financial understand your financial data, your bank, your if you have a bank and in your bank uh, there are many transactions happening for so and so in server. So you cannot restart the server. You cannot shut down the server in the weekdays whether you have a peak hours. So understand how availability important. That's why we have a high availability redundancy. If one goes down, second is available. But no one is going to take a risk to touch your production server in peak time. So your patch management, you cannot restart that. Your power supply, you cannot modify, you cannot do the changes in the power supply. Okay, redundancy of hardware, you cannot play with that. So this is all about your on premises, which you are not supposed to do that without any changes or without any proper ultimation to the customer, and follow the proper change management process and make sure you are following proper process guidelines, procedure, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Now let's talk about the threat to availability. Someone is trying to, attack in your environment and doing malicious activities. Let's say denial of service. They are doing DDoS attack to, like completely uh, mm, froze your machine. Like kind of um, flooding on your server continuously. The CPU utilization is high, your memory utilization is high. They are running kind of script. The attacker, once they get access, they are running such kind of script which utilizing more consumption of CPU, memory, and rest of your service, your application, which is running in the background of that server, that resource will be inaccessible. Then what you gonna do that in that condition? So DDoS attack, okay, denial of service, distribution denial of service, disaster, a natural disaster, let's say fire, floods, storm or earthquake, anything could happen. Human action like bomb or strike. So understand that how availability is, is important. It's very important actually. You have some SLA. During the SLA it should be available. So you like between 9 to 5 p.m. Uh, ensure that we have 100% availability. So if any resource is down, any service is down, you have to that SLA is breach, okay, you will be penalized. You need to do pay some penalties. Correct. Okay. So this is about the CI trials, right? So hope you have understood about this, uh, about CI trials. Now, information security management. Okay, what do we understand by information security management? Which basically describe about the control that an organization need to implement to ensure that is sensibly protecting the confidentiality, availability, and integrity of asset against the threat and vulnerabilities. How it's gonna work actually. So that's something we will understand. Where we will be understanding complete process. So अभी तक जो हमने समझा, what we have understood so far is about ये ये क्या होता, वो क्या होता, what it's all about, and what is, the seriousness against the security to protect the data, but how it actually functions, how it actually works, how information security management will take place. So that's something we'll understand, right? So information security management will definitely ensure implementation of some process like information security policies. Policies at the top. Okay, you need to create the policies. You need to follow the standards, PCI, DSS, etc. Okay, the first one policy which I'm talking about, higher management will declare what the policy would be, what would be our mission, what would be our vision, what would be the goal, then what is our standard, and then after what is the procedure, like step by steps you are putting something, how it would be, then the guidelines like best practice, what would be the best practice in order to follow all the process, what would be your baseline, how we are going to follow, how what the level of the protection you have, how much baseline you have which we need to follow. Then when you have everything, how we going to classify the information, so your information classification. Then when you have everything, how would be your risk management, okay, how we are going to manage the risk. When we are able to manage the risk, how would be the security organizations, the organization का security कैसा होगा, and then security education कैसा रहेगा. So that's all about the information security management. Please understand the serious note of it. We gonna discuss something in detail. So information security, when we talk about the in the previous slide, at the top I said information security policy. So in the information security policies, first we will understand information security governance. Okay, so when we talk about the governance, there are some focus of the government, major focus of the governance, how the governance will work. So when you will study about the GRC, governance, risk and compliance, you have to read this, you have to understand that. Okay, so security governance, the first part is risk management. The governance is not about the risk management. It's you know it it it's all about how would you gonna manage your resources, your HR recruitment, the salary, how much salary, what would be the cost, how would be the our performance, measure, what would be the market value, and what is our mission, what is our goal. uh, when we have the strategy, how our strategy would be aligned, and how we gonna deliver it. So the complete mission, what is your vision, okay. So based on the mission, you have vision, your complete strategy and all. That's something you will decide in the governance. Which governance? So in the government, government basically check all the area of improvement, and accordingly it delivers the result. Okay. So in order to deliver the result, you have some other parameters like risk management and the compliance and all that we will understand. So governance part, it will govern, it will create the strategy. Okay, that's something you will understand. Okay, great. Now you have in the information security, as I said, that risk are reduce, appropriate information verifying, etc. Complete. So that part it's already clear. Okay. Then the GRC which I was talking about, governance, which we have seen. Okay, GRC stands for governance, risk management, and compliance. That you know. So GRC of every organization, it different and you know varies based on the type of organization. It depends on an organization mission. Okay, so what is the business? As I said, that the size of business, industry, culture, legal, regulatory, and all. That's something will be decided. Ultimately, responsibility of GRC program is to protect their asset and operation, including their IT infrastructure and information. Okay, so this is basic introduction about governance. GRC. So in the governance, we understand do the right thing. So governance is right down the line. Governance is doing the right thing, and risk management is doing the thing right. Policies, process, etc. Okay, so governance, risk management, and compliance that we have understood that governance is responsible of board of directors, senior management, better रहेंगे, and then they will decide they will create the complete goal. What would be the the as certain where 1 minute. All right, so this is about the governance. Okay, see look into this also. So you will see governance, that's something we have understood. Risk management is basically a process in any organization, right? Manage the risk to acceptable level or acceptance level or risk appetite. So that's something you need to understand and underline, that manage risk at the acceptable level. You can, till the time you can accept the risk, the, the job of the risk management is basically to check the risk, ensure what the risk can be transferred, which can be mitigated, right, which can be accept. Okay, and all that something we will understand that detail, but you understand the risk management functionality basically क्या होता है. So it requires the development and implement of internal control. Okay, it will focus on the internal control to manage and mitigate the risk, which the countermeasures we needed to secure our data, our organization, right, which we don't require, and which control is too much costly but will not give much effective result in order to protect from the risk. So let's avoid that. We don't require that also. So the many analysis part, assessment part will come. That's something we will understand in the risk management chapter. So for now, you understand about the risk, risk management, and then the compliance. Okay, so compliance, which basically it's an act of adhering to and the availability or demonstrate mandatory requirement defined by law and regulation. So compliance is basically to focus, ensure if we buy, if we have any kind of the regulation. Let's say if we are health organization and we follow HIPAA, so how the PHI data will be protected. So make sure you follow the HIPAA guidelines, the complete the process you follow. Okay, because you have an audit and there will be a then finding. Okay, if you are under GDPR, so ensure that the all um GDPR regulations and law you are following. Also, the what we call the copyrights, the slogans and the part which we are going to describe about. That's something you follow under compliance. So the compliance is basically that includes complete voluntary requirements resulting from contractual obligation and internal policies. That's something is very very important. All right. So this is about basic about the risk management. The risk, that's something we have understood. Okay. And in next video we will be talking about you know um, we will see the business scenario, and then we will be discussing about IT security and operation goals, mission, and objective. Okay. uh, mm, what is the IT goals, mission, and objective, which will cover many things, right? Aligning security with goals. You will understand about different controls framework, control objective of information and related technologies, all the controls, regulations. That's something we will understand about ISO, COVID, NIST. We will understand do care, due diligence. So many things. This is just the beginning. This is not even a 1%. I just want to understand if you have very good understanding about the way I'm explaining. If you like it, you can let us know. So accordingly, you can, I will be creating more and more videos of the throughout this CISSP journey, and you will really love it. Okay, and then we will continue on that. So thank you so much, folks, for watching this video, and you have a wonderful day ahead. Great. Thank you so much.